tell you that I've been to hell. I've seen it all and done it all. Growing up as a child. Here we stand as a people with one song, with one voice. We're a nation undivided and poised. We will take a stand and build our land in faith to defend what is ours. Here we are as a people with one heart for one cause. We're determined to rebuild and restore. Where freedom reigns and truth prevails. Our land where there's hope for us all. Our land where there's hope for us all. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there. We'll defend our land. We believe in Nigeria and the promise she holds, and that one day we'll shine like the sun. We're a great nation.
For the sake of time, we have to come back. We have to come back, please. We have to come back. For the sake of time.
Different tribes, different tongues, we're united in our strength and resolve to uphold the honor of our land and for generations to come, and for generations to come. We'll defend our land. We believe in this nation, and we know we'll get there.
Please, can we begin to come back? Let's come back, please. Please, can we come back? Please. Please, can we come back? Can we come back? DJ, please lower the. Please, one house, please. Please, one house. Can I have your attention, please? Please, one house, please. Thank you. Please, can we quickly come back? Let us, we must leave here on or before 2 p.m. We have to, please. And in doing that, we need to speed up with our time. Okay, just before we start, can we have our icebreaker? Where is our poetry guy? Mr. Godson. Please, can we return back live? Are we live now? Just a moment. Okay. Okay, please. Thank you, and welcome back. We're going to be running very, very fast. Please, one house. We have audience participating online. The audience online are much, much more than what we have here. Participants are connected from across the country. So, just before we continue, can we have the icebreaker and let us invite young lad for his presentation? Please, let's celebrate him.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Everything you seem to love now, you might just end up hating, and everything you seem to hate now, you might just end up loving. So I am hating your president so that I might just, we'll talk about him later. Work very hard, they told us. Work very hard so that you might become stars. And yes, we worked very hard, but look at us now. We're monsters. But when these useless, big-for-nothing leaders of ours die, we cry, and they give us public holidays as if we mourn stars. Can't you see scars? An ordinary councillor in Tudunwada has more than 6 cars. And these fat, pot-bellied senators and lecturers, and these fat, pot-bellied senators and lecturers keep chasing our younger sisters. Drives me crazy so that I might just get a gun. But if we all get guns, then we all might be gone soon. The earth has had enough of the poor man's blood. These days it regurgitates it even. For it thirsts for the blood of these bloodthirsty politicians. So if they offer us guns to raid the polls, we will go. But only if their pizza-eating sons will lead the way. And if they send us money instead, we will know. We will send them envelopes in black envelopes and watch their sentences turn into pestilence. Then, with the strength of every youth, we will vote in the kind of peace that annoys. And if they decide to rig the elections again, we will come again another day and vote another day, protest another day, probably end SARS another day, vote again another day, until the revolution becomes you and me. The earth has had enough of the poor man's blood these days. It regurgitates it even. See, I come from a place where men fight men, and men fight gods, and the gods fight the other gods, but God is supreme. He doesn't fight men, so men are vexed and they fight men. I come from a place where a man is at war within himself. All that he knows is doubt and black despair, pretending to have joy but dying from lack of it. His sight is saturated with unmelting darkness and dreams he does not want to wake up from. A man is good when he is one with himself and evil. Evil does not mean that man is not one with himself, or a divided house has nothing to do with the den of thieves. But man does not know these things. Man does not know that every man is either a tank or a drum or a bucket or a cup, but each filled to the capacity of its design. I come from a place where joy is only but sorrow masked, where that which raises laughter fills the eyes with tears. The more that sorrow carves into your being, the more joy you can contain. But man does not like being pushed about by men or gods or God. Man wants to be free, and he is a slave to it. Man does not know that those who seek God with their whole hearts become gods in the process. Man does not know that man is God asleep and God is man awakened, so man is at war within himself, seeking God in dark and hidden places, but God is a master in playing hide and seek. He hides in the last place that man would look for him. And poor man, we all hate what we don't understand. Hence men fight men, and the men fight gods, and the gods fight the other gods, and the gods fight God, but God is supreme. He doesn't fight men, so we're all vexed, and we kill ourselves. Thank you.
Please, let's celebrate our young man. Very, very quickly, we are going into a very, very sensitive area of our conversation today, just because we want to keep up with time. We're going to be having an interesting conversation now, and that conversation is going to be led by a member of the governing board of Equity International Initiative, Barrister Ike Anyalewichi from Kaduna. Please, sir, can we have you? Please, can we have mics? We are going to be having the first and only woman in this first panel, a very lovely lady. Please let us welcome Libabatu Mohammed from Women's Initiative for Sustainable Community Development, WISCOD. Please, let's celebrate her. Can we have the mics? Okay. Please, let's keep clapping until she sits down. Please, this particular person I'm about to call, they call him the ancestor. He has been very active in the civil society space in this country. Somebody who has passion for development, somebody who has been in the center of conversation in discussions that is shaping our country. Please, it's an opportunity and privilege for me to have here Mr. Steve Aluko of Civil Liberty Organization. This is the first panel, while the other persons for the second panel will be getting ready. From this conversation, we are forming our memoranda. And we are also going to invite some few persons. We are also going to invite some few persons later to the office where we are going to sit down and work out what we are submitting before 10th of April 2024. And for us, we've been in the center of conversation back and forth with the National Assembly, doing a lot of engagement with the House of Reps Committee on constitutional review, and of course the Senate Committee, and in general the National Assembly as well. And after now, this is the first of its kind in the country. We decided to launch it here. Within the next 3 weeks, we are going regional, meaning that the president of the John National Youth Council will be ready to host the constitutional review engagement in Bayelsa in the next 1 or 2 months. Please, straight to the point, I would want to hand over to the esteemed barrister Ike Ayaluichi. You're going to sit down there, sir. And then after which, you'd continue with the panel conversation and introduce the topic of conversation. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, the eminent panelists, and everyone in the house, and all the protocols are duly observed. You know, this forum, this engagement is about making suggestions, contributions, bringing out salient points. You know, sometimes it is called the fault lines in our constitution, and also, you know, engendering ideas and you know, points or issues that we can submit, we can harmonize and you know, make available for the committee set up by the National Assembly on the 24th of February, I think, 2024, responsible for the amendment and review of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. You know, I agree, particularly as an introduction, I want to say emphatically that, you know, when Prof was talking, as well as the person that spoke before Prof came up, who talked about that the problem is not so much so with the provisions or lack of provisions in the Constitution of Nigeria, that the problem is more of the man parts, the implementation, the enforcement, you know, our carrying out those things that are already in black and white in the book. I agree. But there is a point I want to highlight. You know, I'm a lawyer, and I've been a lawyer for about 25 years now, basically involved in human rights advocacy and the rest. I want to say something. You know, it is better to have something in the book than not to have it in the book and say, if we have it in the book, will it be used? Will it be implemented? Let's have it in the book. Let's provide for it. Because most times, the powers that be, the politicians, they rely on the fact that go and do it. The highest they will do, you know, we know the cliche that happened after March last year, go to court. Because they know the fault lines in the law. They know the lacuna in the law. They know the loopholes in the law. They say, go to court. So you can't go to court. You don't create anything in the court. Judges are not, you know, I have a matter in the Federal High Court. It's coming for judgment in May. I took the National Assembly to court. I took the Senate and the House of Reps to court. Now, when we were arguing the matter before the court fixed it for judgment, the judge was like, because I challenged one of the laws they made, that law infringes on certain provisions of Chapter 4 of the Constitution. So the judge was like, was this law not made in 2014? I'm challenging the National Assembly on the National Health Act, certain provisions of National Health Act 2014. The judge said this law was made in 2014. Why did it take you from 2014 to 2023 to bring an action to challenge it? I said, my Lord, it's not that when the law was passed, everybody was clapping for the law about everything. I said, but the point was that because when I was researching before going to court, I saw there were many scholarly writings criticizing certain portions of that law, the portions that I have issue with. They were criticizing them. But nobody moved a step beyond the criticism, the media, something. So the law remained as it is, even though everybody disliked it. So I told him, I showed him writings, different senior lawyers who have criticized the law in media places and the rest of them. At the end of the day, he ended there. The law remained the way it was. So I told the judge, I said, no, it's not like everything was, there was huru about the law. But then that nobody took the step until I decided that, no, we should go beyond this. And brought it to the National Assembly, brought it to the court. I said to him, I'm not asking you, the court is not a lawmaker. The laws are not made in the court. But the court can say this law is wrong based on our ground norm, the Constitution. And when the court says this law infringes on this provision of the Constitution, the lawmaker, the National Assembly, will be compelled to amend or, abrogate that provision or that law. So I say that to say to us that what we are looking at here is that I agree completely, that our problem is more of implementation than provision. But I also say, if we see fault lines, those things that are the loophole that they cash in when they say go to court, they know that there was nothing there or there is a loophole. That's why they say go to court. If we find those things, we should use this opportunity of this 10th National Assembly's move to amend the Constitution to first cure it, so that when they say go to court, we'll have something to go to court about. We'll have something to challenge. I don't know if I made the point. So that's why we must critically look at it. For example, for purpose of this discussion, I say number one, because, you see, as a lawyer, for me, the major problem we have in Nigeria, the major problem we have with our polity, whether it's security, whether it's corruption, whether it's governance, name it. One is the judiciary. For example, the Honorable President of IYC is here. Ijaw National Congress is here. If you say, for example, one of the major challenges of that area of the country is oil spillage, bad governance, and the rest of them, different kinds of things. But when you go there, because I have a lot of friends, I was telling him that my wife is from Niger Delta. I have a lot of people there. There is money in the area. The people who do those wrong things, for example, the multinational trading companies, pay people, indigenous, chiefs, and prominent people there to do what they do and they not question it. They pay them, they give them money. If you go there, sir, I'm sure you know, I attended a burial there. A young man there came for the burial. He's in his village. He came with a helicopter. He didn't go to any school. What happened? They say he's in charge of recruitment for oil company. He's in charge of recruitment. He came with a helicopter, a jet. So I'm saying this to say that the judiciary, if our courts are independent, people can actually question things and have them changed. But because the way Nigerian judiciary is, which is also part of the problem of the Constitution, the president appoints the heads of courts, all the courts of record in Nigeria. Either the president or the governors appoint them and remove them. Our judiciary in Nigeria is not independent. So because it is not independent, every other thing, every other evil you can imagine flows from that. Every other evil you can imagine flow from that. Assuming that our courts are independent, autonomous, as Section 7 of the Constitution says, the courts are autonomous, but they are not independent. So the president appoints the justice of the Supreme Court on recommendation of the NJC. And the president is the one the head of the court is the head of the NJC. And the NJC itself is also part of that, as it were, under the judiciary, but controlled substantially by the executive. The same thing in the High Court Chief Judge of States It's the governor that appoints them. Everybody knows what has happened in Nigeria about it. So you discover that except we change, because I recommend, sir, Prof, you are more conversant with this. I recommend, for me, and I have said it in several fora, I said the provision for the president of Nigeria or the governor of a state to appoint the chief justice of Nigeria or the chief judge of a state, president of court for appeal, chief judge of the federal high court, chief judge of the state high court, should not be appointed by the president. They should be appointed, in fact, those should be an elective position, rotational elective position among justices of Supreme Court. Among justices of Supreme Court. And it should not be a lifetime appointment. For example, we have what we call ranking members of the National Assembly. In Supreme Court, there are also what is called ranking justices. What are ranking justices? Those who have been there for long. Maybe they have been justice in the Supreme Court for 5-10 years. It should be rotational. You will be maybe 5 years or 4 years, depending on the length of time you have before your retirement. Now, we have 70 years retirement age. If they should be, they among them will elect one of them to be the Chief Justice of Nigeria, without any other person's recommendation or approval or stamping. Because if we really run separation of powers, why should one arm of government, which is a part of the tripod, become the lord of the other arms? Because that's fallacy. That's fallacy of in terms. You say independence. The government of Nigeria is of 3 arms who are independent. Are they independent? Is that what Baron Montesquieu said when he talked about doctrine of separation of powers? It's not so. So I posit for us as a starting point in this discussion that if we are going to cure, for me, probably because of my bent as a lawyer, I say I situate the major problem of Nigeria to the kind of judiciary we have, that is not dependent, that is not functional, that is not independent, sorry, that is not functional. So if we start from that, if we can cure this, you won't be hearing go to court. You won't be hearing somebody say, do anything he wants to do and say go to court. So I throw it open to us here. That's the first shot I want us to look at, because that's the beginning of where this amendment must be made in our Constitution. Thank you very much. So we can take comments, questions, observations. Now, okay, so Mr. Luko.
Thank you. It's a privilege to be among the few ones that are on the high table. But beyond the high table, it's very important we know that everybody is born equal. And either we like it or not, we have opportunity now to get what is wrong right, righting the wrong, so that future generation will have a better country called Nigeria. I will be building on what other people have said. But let me go to other areas that the National Assembly felt it should be thrown as other issues or other program. First and foremost, I was privileged to be at the National Conference. And it will interest you to know that 28 states in Nigeria are having problem of exclusion in terms of assessing position of authority and governance in this country. And if 28 states we have that challenge, it has become a national problem. And if you also go between the intent and purpose of our Constitution, I'm speaking strongly that there's need for rotation of power in this country and power shift. Because if 28 states, some citizens of this country cannot become councillor, cannot become chairman, cannot become governor, cannot become president, then we have a national problem. And I'm speaking to this issue based on the provision of our Constitution. Our Constitution do emphasize that there's going to be a challenge. And that's why we have a federal constitution. And the purpose of a federal constitution is to make sure that no person is marginalized or dominated on the basis of his race, religion, or ethnicity. So that's to tell you that the intent and purpose of our constitution does guarantee for power rotation and power shift. Secondly, the provision for federal character is also clear. The intent and purpose of it, if it's properly used, is to make sure that the best people govern this country at whatever level. So my first take on this is that we must change the narrative where people are being excluded from the position of governance, or it has become a privileged few, opportunity for privileged few that never meant well for this country. Secondly, I want to speak on the issue of immunity. As far as Nigerians are concerned, nobody should enjoy immunity in this country, especially the criminal aspect. We've seen from different governors in this state that many of them are more criminal because they are empowered by that immunity clause. And if we have a better society, let's take off that immunity clause so that everybody will know that you are in government house does not guarantee or license you to kill, maim, and destroy the society. I go secondly to issue of governance. We cannot talk that we are in Nigeria and we do not have local government autonomy. Part of the challenge of insecurity that we're having in this country now is because we have bastardized the functionality of the local government system. If we have a functional local government system, some of the problems that have escalated to national problem will be dealt with at the local government level, and we will so be silent. And local government autonomy will command deepen democracy. People will have the power to elect their leader, promote transparency, deepen accountability governance, and also punish anybody that is also imposing them, so that at the end of the day, you have tenure of security. So local government autonomy is also key. Still coming to the issue of insecurity, either we like it or not, the facts is on our table, and we don't need any prophet to predict anything for us. That our national structure are not strong enough to defend the nation called Nigeria. And what do I mean? The security architecture of this country needs to be devolved, both at regional level, at state level, at local government level, even at the community level. Because most of other developed countries that we're using as example, they do exist and function to complement one another. So what I'm saying in essence is that instead of over-celebrating, over-centralized, and unitary-minded psyche of a federal system of security, let's bring it down. Let's have it at the regional level. And I think the Amotekun have given us a good example that if we have a properly guided and regulated regional security architecture, we can perform better at that point. And then we go to the state level. The state policing, we must have it, either we like it or not. Recent experience have shown, we're talking about Bayelsa. If those soldiers also know the networking of that area and the topography, they wouldn't have run themselves aground like that. So we need to have a functional security architecture that will not sit in Abuja and just secure the road to Abuja while the rural area suffers. Secondly, I want to also speak to the issue of Chapter 4 and Chapter 2 of the Nigerian Constitution. The fundamentality of Chapter 4 of Nigerian Constitution is meaningless until we have the enforcement of Chapter 2. And it will interest you to know that the most progressive part of that constitution making was the Chapter 2 that was reduced to minority report. So what I'm saying in essence is that pick Chapter 2 and Chapter 4 and make it justiciable and make it fundamental. Then we'll be able to hold people accountable on the basis that they ran it for office and they are not performing. I also move from that ground and move to the issue of having access to mining. If our resource in this country will not become a cost to us, we've seen it in mining centers across this country where it has become a slaughtering ground. If we must get it, we must develop a network where states will have access to mining the resources that they have. And my own concept of resource democracy is not just election. It's about a democracy that represents the aspiration of the people and also allow people to maximize the potentials of their state and local government and wherever they come from. I move straight to the issue of devolution of power. I strongly believe in devolution of power. And I also believe in tinkling with the revenue allocation formula. But I want to bring a new concept. That instead of just reducing it to just allocation of resources, we should look at governance that will give room for revenue generation. So that at the end of the month, nobody is running to Abuja to just collect allocation. But let every government at all center and at all level be creative enough to generate resources, generate revenue that can help their people, and at the end of the day, make the life of the people better. Finally, before I drop my point, the issue of economic rights and the issue of cultural rights, we cannot run away from it. Either we like it or not, by God's creation, we are first and foremost in one region, in one religion, in one culture, and the rest. And part of what are fester, either ethnic cleansing or religious cleansing across Nigeria, is because in most cases we do not respect this right. So what I'm saying as a final note on this is that let's have enforceable regulation or law or bylaw, whatever we'll call it, so that you will know that you must respect the cultural rights of the people, the religious rights of the people, so that we don't run into the danger of fighting a religious war. May our case not become like that of Rwanda, that after he has killed several million, he now has a thinking cap. May we borrow the thinking cap today and have a national agenda, and have a national interest, and to the National Assembly, the allocation of humongous resources they've given for this purpose. We only be justiciable, we only be judicious, if at the end of the day they give us a pro-Nigerian citizen, a pro-poor constitution that will defend everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lugo. My sister, let's hear your take.
Good afternoon once again. I'm highly honored to be here. So we can't really keep on having conversation around constitutional amendments while forgetting to mainstream gender in our conversation. So we have to make sure that we mainstream gender in our conversation, whereby men and women are given equal opportunity to participate and to participate politically, economically, and also as well to participate economically and politically, and also to be at the decision-making tables. So,
sorry, let's have one house, please. Let's all have one house.
So while talking about constitutional reforms, we know here in Nigeria, we still struggle with the issue of gender equality. We are still yet to attain it. We still have, the women are still discriminated upon, whereby they are not really given the chance, though we have the laws and policies that say, okay, women can come out and their voices should be heard and all that. But look at, in a realistic way, when we look at it, women do not really have that access to such opportunities. So when talking of, we also have policies, laws and policies, a lot of laws and policies that discriminate against women. We have some in security forces, we have laws, policies and laws such that that says that's discriminated against women. For example, we have one which where a policewoman, a security operative is not allowed to be pregnant out of wedlock. She would be dismissed from her own position. And we also have other policies such as a security operative, a female, she needs permission from like from the higher level for her to get married. So these are policies that discriminate against women, and they need to be amended as well. They need to be looked into as well. So we also when coming to women participating in politics, we all know of the 35% affirmative action, but it is still yet to be implemented at the national level. The numbers, women still struggles with the numbers. We still have a very few amount of women that are represented. Let's talk about the just concluded 2023 election, whereby in the House of Representatives, among 360 members, we just have 14 women, and at the Senate level, we just have less than 7 women. So we still struggle a lot. While the 35% affirmative action policy gives, is seeking for 35% of women inclusion in elective positions. So we still struggle with such, policies, though they are there, but they are not fully implemented. So when talking of constitutional amendment, we should always bring in gender mainstreaming in the midst of our conversation, at the center of our conversation. Let's not forget that women are being discriminated upon. They are the ones that are less economically empowered. They are the ones that do not have access to education. And when it comes to even participating in politics, we can see how outrageous the prices are. And women do not have that capacity. They do not have the economical resources to buy the forms and to participate fully in political positions. We also have cultural and religious barriers. Though we've seen a lot of women struggle. We can see the recent struggle of Natasha Akpoti, Senator Natasha Akpoti, the struggle she had to go through to get to the position of Senate. She was abused in one of her interviews. She went through gender-based violence. She was abused. She was manipulated. At some point, she was asked to even give up the position for a male counterpart. So she didn't give up, and at the end of the day, she emerged victorious. We also have the likes of Senator Aisha Binani. People at the back front, you find people saying things like, you know, being the governor of a state in the northern Nigeria, being the governor of the state. So we find people saying issues like, how can the emir, how can she be the #1 citizen? And then we have the emir and maybe all other leaders should be under her, and she's a woman. So these are all the barriers that women face whenever they come out to participate politically. Though the policies are there, but they aren't really given the chance to, when we look at the economic and when we look at the cultural and religious barriers, they actually stop these women. And we also have like policies, like I mentioned earlier. We need to go back and look at these policies and see how these policies can be favorable for women to participate fully and to be part of decision-making process. So basically, that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I thought that we were going to take contributions. Yes, so that we can have feedback. Okay. Can we have the mic available? Since it's a woman that spoke last, give it to her. Let her.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm Amina Ahmed from Women Initiative for Sustainable Community Development, WISCOD. And at the same time, my organization is a member to Gender and Constitutional Reform Network. I wanted to add that from where she stopped, that even the language of the Constitution is gender bias, whereby in the Constitution, the pronoun he, as in he, it appears in the Constitution 235 times in the 1999 Constitution. But the word woman, it only appeared twice. Therefore, the language of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 is gender biased. And I also want to say that the 9th Assembly, from the network we belong to, we had to submit our memorandum of understanding to them, where it carries 5 bills that we wanted it to appear in the Constitution and to be amended. And these 5 bills include: 1, a special seat for women at National Assembly, because of the issues she mentioned, economically, socially, educationally, so on and so forth. Secondly, we also ask for affirmative action for women in politics. That is the 35% affirmation action. We also talk about granting citizenship. Yes, this is another bias. So in the bill we submitted, we also included granting citizenship of foreign-born husband of a Nigerian woman, because if you look at it, a foreign-born woman is being granted citizenship to a Nigerian man, but for the woman is 0. We also ask for indigenship and choice of marriage. For the woman, she should choose where she wants to become the indigene of that state, either for her original state, her background, or the community or the background of her husband. She should have that choice to make that. And lastly, we also ask for access and inclusion of at least 10% affirmative act in favor of women at ministerial position. But these 5 bills, it may amaze you to know that after submitting these 5 bills, after appearing before the committee being set in the 9th Assembly, it was thrown in November 2022. But what we are planning as I speak today under the network, we are still revisiting these 5 bills. Yes, we are revisiting it to the 10th Assembly. And I hope that everybody seated here, you will garner more people for us so that we'll be able to get these 5 bills. And also the language of the Constitution should be reviewed so that it will be gender sensitive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so Prof. Hold on. Prof.
Well, I'm already standing.
Prof.
All right, thank you.
Prof, can we have you say something on this? Yes, it's important we have you say something. I will come back to the audience. Prof, I'm told that you have 2 minutes just to say something. I will still come to the audience, please.
Okay, I really, I've been teaching all these things. I don't know which one is far more important. But I think so far, can we actually make a right to education? Can we make it compulsory? The way it is now in the Constitution, I know my friend Aluko touched on the chapter 2 and chapter 4. I don't want to complicate things when I talk, so I want to make it a little bit easier. Can we make even this primary and secondary school education, can we make
Prof, sorry, let me interrupt you. We have what the Universal Basic Education Act.
Yes.
Or basic education law, that exists. Incidentally, I took up this point some time ago, and it was said that the lacuna in the Constitution seemed to have been cured because under the Universal Basic Education Act, it's now compulsory. It's now like that act complements the Constitution. But I agree with you, for purpose of enforcement and holding government accountable, it should be moved. Right to education should be moved. I agree with you on that point. I agree with Mr. Lugo also, that it should be moved to this chapter from 30 to 44, that deals with fundamental rights. I think it should be moved there. I agree with you.
You know why I don't want to go into details. We are all lawyers. We know how to cause trouble. But clearly, we all know that enforcement had been one of our greatest problems. And when it comes to interpretation, people will start going here and there, here and there. Western Nigeria implemented free education. they didn't have all this interpretation. Even Delta was starting it. If they see your child on the road and he's not in the school, they'll catch the person, the parents will come and pay fine. There is nothing wrong in trying it in northern Nigeria. When we are talking about the number of out-of-school children, that's what my problem with our people. Can we confront our problems? Education is a huge problem. Huge. You cannot have children who do not have education, and then you cannot have bandits. It doesn't work out that way. It can't work out that way. So can we, for once, especially those of you from the north, put it, it's not a question of compulsory. This education must be compulsory. It's not a question of putting it in the constitution. It's there. You can do the interpretation. I have been teaching for past 45 years. It doesn't go anywhere. If we now said compulsory, every child must go to school. You see this feeding, it went a long way. Compulsory feeding of children in school. It is not only going to school. What did you eat before you went to school? There must be make the school attractive to the child. You see, and that's why I'm saying, I think there was a young man I was talking to that. We must have a vision. What is the Nigerian vision of a society? Do we want a society whereby children who don't have opportunity don't go to school? We say no to it. Every developed country must, it is a must. I was telling somebody that in Iraq, they are still worshiping Saddam Hussein up to today, because when he was there, if you don't send your child, he will kill you. It is capital punishment. Why can't we try it in the north? It was tried in the southwest, yes. Why must it be when it comes to children, they talk about religion?
Prof, thank you very much.
Let me finish.
Yes.
And I tell the Muslims that are here, whether they can show us part of the constitution that says that children should be made al-majiri, let us know. Let us be really come straightforward on our problem. Our problem is basically, squarely, the non-education of these little children and no faith. So even if we don't gain anything from this exercise, can we for once put our feet down that primary school education, don't even talk about secondary school, because that would be aiming too high. These children that are going to school, can we make their feeding? Why has their feeding suddenly disappeared after COVID? Why? So I think in making education, we must make free primary, let it be a constitutional right, whereby when they go to that school, they also must be fed. I had my little children in UK. When children go to school in the UK, if you are going to detain them for more than 5 hours, they must eat food. Why can't we try it?
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much. Thank you. Just one person here, one person, just a minute. You have 1 minute. The person with the...
All right. Good to be here, to be part of this discourse. No need to overflow other issues because some of those issues were actually raised by my mommy here. So to senior comrade Steve Aluko, so you talked about power shift and rotation, which of course for me it's important. Looking at what you've been doing over the years, supporting minorities and all of that, if we are to push for some of those legislations, how do we also factor in the minorities for them to be protected when such opportunities are there? Because even the issues around minority rights as well as opportunities, we know how it has been bordering around us from the federal, state, local government, even within our community. So how do we factor that so that people can actually have their voices being represented? Thank you.
I think the last person, let us give an opportunity to a woman, please. Please, that woman's hand has been up, please. Mr. Godson, please, the woman's hand has been up, please. We are coming back to the second session. We'll take more questions, please.
Good afternoon, all. And I must say, I'm really wowed being here because this is a conversation that is really, really important if the citizens actually have a voice. And we're looking at the Constitution on reproductive rights of the woman. It was not really, really explained. From what point to what point does the reproductive right of the woman begin? Because a woman does not have the right to know how many children she's going to have, when she's going to go to the hospital, and then if she wants to have a CS or not. And this is part of the problem we're having in the society. And then when we still come to gender, you look at where the Constitution captured 18 years for an adult. But you see young girls are being married off at 13 years. And they will tell you it's culture. So is it something that the government and even the citizens should add their voice? Because when a girl child is not educated, you've opened her to so many things. The first thing is domestic violence, because you've taken away her confidence. And then we now look at the girl child going to school. Why is it that the girl child, once there's a problem in the home, they are told to withdraw from school? And when they are withdrawn from school, they are meant to be domestic helps. And then another thing I think we should look at in the Constitution is child labor. If you look at the country, I was saying the other day that there should be an emergency on child labor. A lot of children are being trafficked and are being used for domestic servitude. And then we now look at ovary harvesting, where girls are now selling their eggs. What is the Constitution really doing to protect the right of the vulnerable in the society? And then finally, the implementers of this Constitution, like if you go to the police station, even the enforcers of the law, they don't know the law. So is there anyhow they can introduce in schools that the first thing from primary 1 or from 0, whatever age, but from primary 1, let every citizen be armed with a Constitution? You can't speak on what you don't know. If you go outside the country, most of the little children, they know their rights. You can't just stop a citizen and tell the citizen will tell you, I know my right. But in the country, even the oldest of them all don't know their rights. And so if we can begin to say, under education, let it be part of our civic education. Let every citizen be armed with a Constitution. And I think from there we'll begin to speak something. Thank you.
Please introduce yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I am Makob Masok from Voice of Special People. I want to talk about the issues of persons with disability.
Please, sir, you just have 2 minutes, please.
It's all right. You know the issues of persons with disability. You may not be affected, but you may not be carrying a disability, but you are affected in one way or the other. There are a lot of people become persons with disability either by ailment or by accident or by attack in terms of crisis, in terms of old age and the rest. So when we're talking about issues of persons with disability, it concerns all of us, because in one way or the other, we may be, because nobody prayed and wished to become a person with disability. It comes when you never plan. And so it will be good that it is institutionalized into our constitution. Looking at issues, if you look at the National Assembly, for example, you will discover that hardly will you see a person with disability. In terms of contest, before the 2023 election, there were a lot of workshops, a lot of sensitizations about issues of persons with disability and inclusion even in elective positions. But unfortunately, when persons with disability come up to contest, that stigma of is a person with disability, we cannot vote such a person. You know, when somebody is a person with disability, is either his leg or his hand or his eyes or his ears that are having one form of dysfunction or the other. But his brain is intact, that can contribute immensely. Roosevelt in 1932, the president of America, was on wheelchair. He contested on wheelchair and was voted on wheelchair, and he became president and did extraordinary. And that is why we need to, many people have talked about the issue of implementation. There is a disability rights law. Today you discover that these laws, a lot of these laws are not even, obeyed. 5% of employment should be given to persons with disability according to the law. Not when you are going to recruit, but I can tell you that a lot of organizations, including, government, whether parastatals or civil service, you don't see persons with disability there. And it is very okay when you are making a statement, they say it's a person with disability. And again, for us to be able to get this done, one of the plea that this constitution should be able to contain in the 6 geopolitical zones that we have in this country, it is my proposal and the collective proposal of persons with disability that a senator should, a exclusive position for a representative of persons with disability should emerge from the 6 geopolitical zone.
Thank you so
and
much.
Then
thank you.
Of House of Reps.
Thank you so much.
House of Reps from each state.
Thank you.
So that
Thank
if
you.
we
That's
have...
all for now, please. Thank you so much, sir. We
All
have
right,
captured
thank you.
your. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the panel has 30 seconds each to respond. 30 seconds, please.
Okay, my sister, go first.
So I just wanted to add up on the issue of making education to be compulsory. So another challenge is that it's not just about making education compulsory, but especially looking at northern Nigeria, the retention of the pupils in schools as well is another problem. Their retention as well. Due to insecurity challenges, we have insecurity challenges whereby there is a lot of mass abduction of children, girls and boys at schools. So this further brings back the step towards making education free and accessible for everybody. It becomes not too accessible for them.
Thank
so
you.
That's a challenge too.
Thank you so much. Please, let's celebrate her. Okay, Mr. Steve, please.
Thank you.
30 seconds, sir. 30 seconds, please.
The only question that was directed to me is on how do we manage the minority issue. But let me state it clearly here that during the presentation from those 28 states, there are states that majority cannot even win election. States like Niger State and many other states, the minority also gang up against the majority. So when we are talking about rotation or power shift, it's not just about the minority question. Even many states in this country, majority are not getting it. So the right thing we should do is that if we have a national problem, it must have a durable solution, and we must have a way of settling everybody so that at the end, there's equal sense of belonging, equal sense of cooperation, and equal sense of ownership. Nigeria is not the birthright of any individual or any group of persons. We are first and foremost in Nigeria, and it must be so respected, no matter where you come from. Like Benue State, and Ido Mama can become a Senate president, but can never be governor. So when we are talking about this, a national problem, and we must resolve it before it burns all of us aground. Thank you.
Okay. Now, for me, the only other points we need to also look at and probably pass across to the committee is we need to reduce the power of the president of Nigeria. He has enormous powers. It's worrying that, and that's how they control the institutions and make everything weak. He appoints everybody. He appoints the chairman of this. He appoints executive secretary of this. He appoints, we should remove that power. Number two, there must be a deliberate effort to make our institutions work and be less dependent on human beings that run them. Because as long as our institutions, because what we have today is where the IG sees himself as being in office at the mercy of the president. The chairman of Federal Medical Center or chairman of an organization sees himself as at the mercy of the president. The chairman of ICPC sees himself as working for the president. Now, what the result is that whatever thing that pleases the president's political interest, personal interest, becomes the interest. It's unfortunate in a developing world like Nigeria, and where the leaders, those who are holding executive office, see themselves as lords. That's where you find personal family interest is elevated as national interest.
Thank you, sir.
And that should be changed.
Thank you so much. Indeed, it has been a beautiful conversation with the panel session, and I think you can do better by giving them a beautiful round of applause. Thank you, Mr. Steve Aluko. Thank you, Libabatu, and thank you, Barrister Ike. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, I noticed that we have so many questions and contributions. We are wrapping up with the last session where we are going to open the floor for more questions. To introduce the last session for the day, can we have Mr. Gad Shamaki, Executive Director of Clean Foundation? This is going to be a very power hot panel. Mr. Gad, please.
Okay. So quickly, I want to quickly invite Prince Charles Dixon to come up. Is it he for she or she for he? Nenedun, carry yourself, come here. She for he. He, she. This struggle must see the end of light. I want to invite my comrade and friend, the National President of the Ujoi Youth Council, to please join us up here. So I want to render an apology. I've already spoken to Chris. There is a young girl from a graduate of University of Jos, Plangnan Luka, that have been trying to raise some funding for her for surgery, for a 20 million naira surgery. And part of the advocacy is for us to be at a radio station at 2 o'clock. It was wrong. I ask you, what did you do to make it right? Because if you keep quiet because it's affecting somebody else, when it's going to affect you, there will be nobody to talk about it. And therefore, in more advanced society, the reasons why, if you're dealing with animals, they will deal with you, is a simple concept that when you finish killing those animals, you start dealing with human beings. And so they need to stop you at that level. And so we need to reduce the impunity that happens in this country. For example, typical example, let me use NSAS protests. When NSAS was catching fire in other parts of the country, the northern part of Nigeria did not do it for 3 reasons. One, they say it was against Buhari. Second reason, there's the issue of religion. And then the third reason is because the level of police brutality in the southwest, southeast, and south-south. You don't have it in other parts of Nigeria. If you leave Jos to Makurdi down to Otukpo, between Otukpo, Night Mile, and everywhere as you go down, virtually every 5 kilometers, there are mean-looking uniform personnel that are mounting the roads. If you travel from here, and I'm not joking, if you travel from Jos now to Jigawa, the only checkpoints you're going to meet, apart from the ones you meet on this Jos highway that the soldiers just greet you, is the one in Bauchi, then one lazy one around Jigawa till you get to Kano, you won't see any. And so people don't, but the mistake is the fact that if something affects somebody in another part of the country and you refuse to speak, when it affects you and you're asking people to come and help you, they say, but why? And when people were calling about the killings in Zamfara, come and speak on our behalf, people say, but when we say let's do NSAS protest, you say there is no problem. Why are you asking us now to come and support the issue? And so this is how we allow politicians to divide us. So whether you're a person with special need, whether you're a woman, whether you're a minority or majority, the indices that we all have, we're human beings. And let's ensure that every point in time we're speaking for that thing that keeps all of us alive. And ensure that government is giving economic benefit. It gives to everybody. When we're talking about political benefit, let it affect everybody. The only way we can address insecurity in this country is when we address the issue of human security. And we're able to ensure that government is meeting the needs of all of us. I'm sure once we're able to do that, it will avail us. The constitutional review have the issue of structure and power devolution, issue of local government, public, the issue of revenue. We have the Nigeria policy, Nigeria security. We have issue of judicial reforms, federal reform to strengthen, electoral reform. We have the socio-economic issue. We have traditional institution, issue of gender, strengthening of independent oversight agencies. And when we talk about oversight agencies, for example, under the Nigeria Police, we're talking about the National Human Rights Commission. We're talking about the Police Service Commission. We're talking about the NBA and others. Now, the argument is that we must subject uniformed personnel to civilian oversight. Because as long as the civilians do not provide oversight, it creates room for the kind of abuse and the confusion that we have. And therefore, the issue of national security, the issue of laws and the rights we have is the same law that establishes whatever law that everybody is working with. And therefore, we must all work within the ambits of the law and ensure that we have a say when it comes to issue of impunity, issue of violation of rights, issue of extrajudicial killing, and all of this. And so these are issues of oversight that we can strengthen even the National Assembly to do. For example, if you summon the military now to National Assembly, they may come, they may not come. Nobody will flog them. But in advanced country where the system is working, the military is accountable to the national institution that is on behalf of everybody. And so when you invite institutions of government or CBN governors or somebody that's close to the president and say, I'm not going to the National Assembly, it's an abuse of process. And so I want to urge all of us to look at those issues. You know, in civil society, there are what we call low-hanging fruits. And there are those changes that when you do, everybody will benefit from it. We should go beyond those low-hanging fruits and look at those changes that once it happens, everybody will be better off. Thank you so much, and God bless us all. I remember people
All right. Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Most importantly, patriotic Nigerians. Very quickly, I will do a handful of housekeeping rules. That's the teacher in me. Let me assure you, not in Buhari's voice, that we would leave here by 2. And the only reason we won't leave here by 2 is because those of you on the floor, and I don't mean trajectory, the floor, would have so many questions to be. And this is the last session, so it will be open as much as we can. It's not every time you get the privilege to call your professor and ask him to sit somewhere, but these things happen. So permit me to call Prof again to please be on this panel. I hear some grumblings. There are profs and there are profs. All right. God has helped lay foundation to what I think would be a very robust conversation. And for me, it's always about learning, being very akin to new learnings. There is a reason why I happen to be an ancestor. Is that ancestors in Nigeria are very greedy. They collect kola nut while alive. They still collect wine while dead. But the reason we do that is that we're not afraid to say the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is one of the bulkiest documents I have had privilege to see. And when you consider constitutions worldwide, and constitutions that are barely 5 pages, 10 pages, 15 pages, and the bulk of work we have, you begin to say to ourselves, I had the other person say, it's not even about the Constitution. How about the Constitution of ourselves? How much guided are we when you look at the issue of domestic violence, divorce, and all that? Just the Constitution of the faith that you practice. By virtue of information, the American Constitution has gone through 11,000 reviews. 11,000, of which only 26 amendments passed through. So you see, this conversation is not just about what will happen tomorrow or what should happen next week. For a population of 200 million Nigerians, we cannot agree. Some of the issues or conversations we're having are not even constitutional matters. They can be addressed by simple acts. If you put disability into the Constitution, Cherubim and Seraphim Church will want to be in the Constitution. Seventh-day Adventists will want to be in the Constitution. We assume that we're having a conversation about Muslims. Sunnis will want to be in the Constitution. Shiites will want to be in the Constitution. When we say 35% affirmative acts, how do we even pick the women? That's when we know we're really divided. Are we going to pick the women from the majority women? Who are the majority women? How many of us saw what happened in Adamawa, in Taraba, where women allegedly won elections? Religious issues. So sometimes these conversations are not as straight as they are. Nigeria is a sweet country. We're all seated down here in a state I know. They've sworn in how many members of the State House of Assembly? You see, these are the dynamics. So we'll fixate on the key issues. We want to look at state police. We want to look at devolution of powers, issues that are constitutionally bound and framed, issues that can be changed, conversations that we can honestly have. And I know that, Nene, you're not the only woman here. John National President loves women. He will defend women. We'll look at very constitutional issues that are around our women folk. But I will start with a story that we can reflect on. 2 days ago, my son was driving, and those guys who give you a sheet of paper, School of the Deaf and Dumb, gave him a note, and they're always asking for contribution. So he looked at his pocket with his younger brother. He was glorious to God that he wasn't deaf nor dumb, and he wanted to give a good offering. And so he gave an amount I wouldn't mention. And as he was about to drive away, the deaf and dumb person said, "Thank you." Nigeria is a great country. My panelists would have the privilege of 4 minutes, and I'll be very good with time, to look at the issues that are up for review and share their thoughts. Nene, I will go with you first. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Peace Charles. And I want to count it a great privilege to be seated on this part of the hall, and I want to say, this is like the second time I'm participating in a constitution review. The very first one was after I graduated in 2001, and then as students, our heads was very hot. We wanted the constitution to be reviewed, and we wanted the freedom of expression, that guarantees journalists to seek information to be changed. And of course, it's still the freedom of expression. Now, I want to speak to the issue of mining. I know a lot of people would have expected that I would start with the gender issue. But let me start with the issue of mining. It is funny that in a state where there are mineral deposits, that the state does not enjoy the benefits of the mineral deposits. Rather, the federal government gives licenses to companies from Abuja, and they just come into your state with a piece of paper, and you don't have option, and they are guarded day and night. They mine these resources, they go with it. They even employ the locals to do the mining, pay them stipends, and then they go with the resources, and the state government does not have a say. Now that is actually disheartening, because if the state has a right to her mineral resources, I believe that there is a lot that each state can do. Let's take an example from Zamfara. Whoever believed that something good will come out of Zamfara? Whoever believed that gold will be the reason why banditry is thriving in Zamfara, but the locals are suffering? So who is controlling the mining? It will break your heart to know that in Plateau State, children whom our prof here is saying we should make education compulsory for, now detest education because for a tin of columbites, or kuza as it is named in local parlance, they would rather go for mining than go sit in the four walls of a classroom. And so if we make that education free for them, who will be in the classrooms? They would rather be in the mining holes to make quick money rather than sit and listen to a teacher speak to them. So I think that the Constitution should do something about mining and make laws, regulations that will prevent certain ages of people from going to the mines. Let only adults go and mine. And we know the dangers that are, inherent in mining. Women are not spared. Just recently, a military personnel was killed while guarding the mines. So why must we lose security people who are supposed to protect the territorial integrity of Nigeria? Rather, they are protecting Columbite? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. I also want to go forward to speak on the traditional institutions. I grew up in a country where when the traditional institution used to have a lot of power, when a traditional ruler says a thing, it stands. Today, what is the constitutional role of our traditional leaders? I think if we give them constitutional role, if we state out their roles and responsibilities in the Constitution, I think we'll have a headway with issues of banditry, issues of kidnapping. Because it is the traditional rulers that are the people who actually, get to the grassroots. I believe in those days, there is no single foreigner that can enter into a place without the village head knowing. But today, we have lots of foreigners. And sometimes, we have traditional rulers at the lowest level colluding with criminals. If they have constitutional role, the highest person in the traditional council is the first-class chief. If that man is given a constitutional role and responsibility, he would know how to regulate his subordinates, who are either district heads, village heads, or ward heads. Now, let me come to the issue of gender. I know you're coming close. In 2022, a federal high court sitting in Abuja passed a judgment asking the federal government to implement the 35% affirmative action that women are calling for. Why did the court say so? The court said so because Nigeria is a signatory to many treaties that guarantees the inclusivity of women in governance, in politics, and what have you. But we do not and have not implemented these treaties. We just quickly append our signatures to the treaties and we come back home and it's business as usual. But we are saying, if a competent court of law has called on the federal government or is urging the federal government to implement the 35% affirmative action, I do not see any reason why the federal government should not do that. It's simple. Prince Charles asked, or was it God that asked, how will you pick the women if you say women should be allowed, into political positions? It's simple. How many senatorial districts do we have? For example, let's use Plateau State. If we have 3 senatorial districts, let us zone it and say, for this particular election that is coming out, this zone, produce a woman for us. So bring out all the competent political women, let them compete within themselves and give us a leader, and no man will compete. We can do it. We can do it. But if we sit and say, how will it be done, that it makes it look as if it's a Herculean task. It is not difficult. It is just for us to put our heart to it and do it. Now, apart from elective positions, we're also asking that government should appoint women into positions, at least 15%, 35%. Political parties, the only thing a woman gets to hold in a political party is woman leader. And most likely the treasurer, because they know she will not eat the money. So we are saying, allow women to contest as the secretary of a political party or even as the chairman of the political party. It can be done. But all we are saying is, give us that equitable platform. We're not looking for equality. We're only asking for equitability. If you are tall and you stand and see what is happening across in a fence, in the other compound, and the woman standing next to you is not as endowed in height as you, please put a bench for her to stand on it. That's all we're asking. Thank you.
The complexities around the conversation called Nigeria. It's quite interesting, and thank you for the points you've raised, Nene. I do sincerely appreciate. And the reason I ask this question is, from wherever you stand, more questions arise. I've seen women say often than not, we're not begging. In other words, but when you have that conversation, you seem to be begging, whether you agree or not. And this makes it even more complex. Again, when you look at the traditional institutes we talk about, I think it's a blessing to be 50 and counting. I'm not yet 70, and I hope I get to 70. The only good thing is I have passed 47, which is the life expectancy, so I'm good to go anyway. Having said that, Prof would agree with me that the traditional rulers we have, and our Ijo president would agree, are not the traditional rulers we used to have. The politics of traditional rulership, the politics of first class, second class, third class, and whatever class, the constitutional requirements that gives more power to the state governor over the traditional rulers are another quagmire. The governor can hire and fire. This takes me to our Ijo National Youth President. In the 80s, some of us who were privileged to the big cupboard box, which is what we used to call the TV, used to see Pakistan, Lebanon, and bombs. I didn't think I was ever going to hear that the bomb blast in Nigeria. I didn't think it would ever happen. And then gradually, for those of us who are northerners, we used to say that, the worry boy know the bullets by just hearing. We didn't know that the thing was coming home to roast. Now it has roasted and fried. The reason I'm giving him this conversation is because I've seen friends who are in the military lobby to want to go to the Niger Delta. Soldiers bribe to go there. The conversation about having federal security agencies and state policing and local vigilante and community policing is a confused conversation. How does the conversation will the Constitution address this? Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, fellow Nigerians. Just like the moderator said, this is a difficult conversation generally. But addressing the issue of, which falls under Nigerian police and the security architecture. Nigeria sometimes deliberately, through a constitutional implementation process, makes it almost impossible for people to live in harmony. Maybe for the purpose of individual gains, especially within the security industry. How do you, I'm from Bayelsa, how do you make me, assuming I was in the security industry, you make me a commissioner of police in Plateau State and make me, I don't understand the language, I don't understand their culture, and the people should trust me enough to give me intelligent information in nipping trouble spots on the board rather than reacting to symptoms we see in the course of people's actions. It's just not possible to work. But for those who benefit from budgetary provisions simply because Nigeria is funding the war, or Nigeria is providing funding that as long as this war persists, those who are managing this system will continue to get richer as military or as police officers. Why it will not work? Let me tell you my personal experience. By the way this country is structured, no part of this country has business been poor. And that is a fact. Bayelsa, Delta, Rivers, we have natural oil and gas. But that's not all that makes people rich. Zamfara, Nasarawa, Plateau have several mineral resources that are useful in today's world perpetually, globally. The oil that is driving the Nigerian military and are people in power crazy is almost becoming an obsolete product in some places already in the world. Now, for those who have no cultural affinity, no language understanding or culture, are deployed as military officers to communities and begin to dabble into community politics. And then you want the people to obey you simply because you are having an AK-47 and then a rifle that makes you a military, a uniform that makes you a military officer. Except you want to tell me that you want to govern the people by fears. People will at a time react. The unfortunate incidents that happened in Delta, which is having a spiral effect in Bayelsa, is one classical incident. If we are honest to ourselves, what is the role of the military in community misunderstandings? Where is the role of the police? By our collective acquiescence, unfortunately, we are also understanding with the military that it is the military's role to intervene in community disputes. Please, as we all face this round of this constitutional amendment, let it be clearly known that the military has no business in internal affairs. It is none of their role. In the north, we can understand because there's already war of terror against our people. But if you dig deeper, you will also understand the role of the military in sustaining this war. This is the truth. So, in dealing with these issues, Nigeria must be honest enough to tell Paul, when Paul is wrong, that this is not your role. You have no business going to community disputes. And the police must not be so weak to the level where they almost have no role in the issues of internal security. So our professional military must be guided in its constitutional role, which is providing security against external aggression for the defense of Nigeria, not defending one community against the other. It will continue to create reaction. And the moment people suspect you that you are on the side of the other people, whatever I do to you is within my rights, which is wrong. We must not allow Nigeria to degenerate to that level where people have to resort to self-help in the issues of dealing with conflicts amongst our people. Now, please permit me to deal with the issues of local government and then state creation. We were privileged to have General Sani Abacha, who had, by his own prerogative, had mercy on my people, and the state was granted. Up till today, we are practically existing outside of the Constitution, because the Constitution says that Nigeria, a state shall be made with a minimum of 10 local governments. But today, Bayelsa still exists with 8 local governments. It's not right. And when these are presented before our people in Abuja, the first question is, where are they coming from? Is it not for Bayelsa? Why would we? What is our business there? But it's making some people like a second-class citizens in a country where all should be first-class citizens. You cannot have some section of the country treated simply by reason of where they come from or the language they speak. If things are not right in Borno, it should be Nigeria's burden. And in terms of, just like somebody said, every geopolitical zone in this country, for the existence 6 geopolitical zones, we have 6 states in each, and the Southeast still has 5. Why are they denied one when we should be having equal ratio in terms of state representations? Also, one of the personal, because it affects my people, so that people's identity are not lost on account of politics, there needs to be an expanded listen of these geopolitical zones in this country. In the South, if you zone power rotation between the South and the North, I can almost tell you for free that perpetually one zone may likely have it. But if you allow a micro-zoning within Nigeria that within the North, now that North-West had just produced the last president, it should go to North Central. It should go to Northeast. It should go to Southeast. It should go to South-South. That's the only way individually everybody's potential can be brought to bear in terms of governance and the provision of the necessary things that our people deserve. Today, we are governed by people from the Southwest. So you can almost see that all major appointments are going to the Southwest. Should it be so? I don't no longer qualified people from the Southeast, from the North Central, from South-South. But simply because we are governed by individualism, people get something simply because of where they come from. I'm sorry to say this. The last administration, the greatest qualification you have to be appointed to anything is to be either an Hausa Fulani or be affiliated to one. You don't have to go to school to be appointed to anything. No country can function in that manner and realize its best potential. It won't work.
Thank you so very much. The Aluta spirit in him will make him go. I was intentional in giving him 2 additional minutes. You know, in Plateau, we're very good to our hosts. He's visiting us, and apart from the fact that I know CYPA team will take him around and show him the good things and show him that apple do actually grow on the Plateau. It was good to have him express these key issues. And I would, before I ask Prof to jump, can I please crave our indulgence to say that it's 1 minute past 2? Can we continue? If you like, answer. I'm even being liberal. If I was government now, would you continue without consent? Thank you. I assure you. This is intentional. Nigerians are hyper emotive. When I asked if we could continue, I didn't get an immediate response because we're used to being subjected to orders. Nigerians are never asked, how do they feel? You wake up, tariffs are removed, electricity prices are hiked, and then the proverbial go to court, sir, if you don't care, or if you do care. Conversations around the Constitution will always evoke emotions. Hajia said something about rights of transgender. We haven't even respected ourselves as men and women. How much more as Bob and Risky? There are deep issues. Hajia raised the mention of gender in our constitutional framework. Another school of thought raises the mention of Sharia. These are deep-seated issues. Like he said about the last administration, you could comfortably had a Federal Executive Security Council meeting and the lingua franca would be Hausa. But you see, quite interestingly, my dear friend, the Hausas had the worst security problems. So that didn't even solve the matter. It's an irony. Like when I look at Bayelsa, like rivers, we call them one-entry states. These are states that has one way in, one way out. Until a few years ago, Bayelsa was not on the national grid. They were not on NEPA. And the turbines will go off from time to time. But my question naturally would be, what did a Jonathan do? It shows you how deep it is. In 1976, Gowon was president, and we started a rural electrification project for the then Benue Plateau, inclusive of Nasarawa. In 2024, the high tensions of that same project are lying all the way from Rukuba Barracks round without any electrification. Nigerians love themselves in the same measure with which they hate themselves. It's a sad commentary. And this is where I bring Prof. From 1999 till date, there's been only 5 alterations to the 1999 Constitution. And I find that funny. For all the problems we're discussing, they will bring us, spend money, and this is me trying to tell you, if you know the budget for this current one, you go like, wow, 1 billion. And they'll just change one thing, or maybe nothing. My question is the problem the Constitution? Because my friend, I won't call you learned colleague because I'm very unlearned, said we should devolve power, and which is what you're saying. The president appoints, in fact, I'm doing a small research and I'm already exhausted. Every morning you wake up, Tinubu makes an appointment. I'm like, come on. What do the governors do then? But again, you also look at the quality and the numbers of the appointments. In Nigeria, you have special advisor media, senior special advisor media, consultant media, advisor radio, advisor TV, advisor print, advisor communication, e-media. Then you now have assistants. Is the problem the Constitution, Prof?
You know, why I appreciate him a lot is that he really knows how to hit at people. You know, when he started about this ancestor, see, this ancestor, they give him palm wine, give him gin. Even when he dies, they give him again. It makes me really very uncomfortable because when I see a lot of you here, I look like an ancestor. Why? Because I've been around, I'll soon be 70 years. This constitution we are talking about, we were the first set of people who organized training the trainers to people to study this 1999 constitution. When they started reviewing of this constitution, I was the first batch. I did the review of constitution for the whole of the Middle Belt. They didn't want to give me. They did politics. They said I was an Igbo man. How can they give it to an Igbo man? Unfortunately for them, the person who was distributing the work was Professor Maxwell Gidado. Max Gidado was my student at Medigree. He knows I've spent all my adult life in the northern part of the country. I know I've been discriminated. Sometimes it seems as if my second name will become discrimination. But I have swallowed all of it. So now I come to the Constitution. I've taught it. Every year I'm teaching. This is my 45 years of teaching in the university. I still teach constitutional law. And then when you come to the benefits, I see people who were fighting before, like my Southwest people, fighting every government before. Suddenly it's their turn. What has happened? I see the Northerner. Buhari was painted as an angel, and he ended up. What's happened? And like he said, and because I like the commentaries he makes, Gowon was the head of state. Where did he take Plateau to? Where? Jonathan just finished. Where did he take him? There was one hopeless professor, if I may call him one, because you know these people in the sciences, we think they are not smart. Very, very smart professor. Medicine. They put him in National Health Service. He messed up there before they threw him out. So last time I saw him criticizing Buhari, they brought him there as DG. He caused so much problem to Buhari there. They had to throw him out. Now he's the one now that is leading the Northern academics, telling them that the North must sit together in a room and talk to themselves. Why? Because he started counting. Director DSS, not. Director NII, not. All the security architecture in the country is held by the North. Before Buhari became the head of state, all the 28 local governments in Katsina, none of them was held by bandits. By the time Buhari finished, half of them were held by bandits. So you know, when you call me an ancestor, I don't feel bad. I'm not too happy about it. But it seems as if I've seen everything. Round. So I'm wishing now. So even if they appoint me, what is going to happen? People who ordinarily shouldn't be tribalistic, Tinubu, Lagos people, these are so enlightened human beings. My father was born in Lagos in 1915. He bears a Yoruba name, Ayodele. In fact, when my brother was the commissioner of police here in Plateau, he put Ayo Aduba. But look at now, he's the president. Look at the appointment he's making now. Even in that Lagos, there is a group now they call Lagos for Lagos. Because the indigenes are finding it difficult to breathe. And I laugh because I'm an indigene of Onitsha. And I know we too are finding difficulty in breathing. And the only solace I've taken is that I've run to my wife's place, which is Asaba. That's where I have built my house. But my wife has kept on abusing me because now I'm on my one leg. If you are not in your village, how can you be abusing your wife when, and for those of us who are married, you know, pleasing a woman is very, very difficult. I don't know anybody who has succeeded in pleasing any woman. If you have, just raise your hand, okay? So when you now go and leave your own father's house and go and live in your wife's town, I will know whether if they are talking about marginalization, whether your name will not be marginalization itself, if you go and live there. Okay. So really. So if we get a little bit serious about this, so I'm telling you about this constitution, is it the structure of the human being? Because sometimes I find out that, like in other countries, Nigerian constitution, very detailed. Britain doesn't even have a constitution to talk with, although they have their conventions. American one, very tiny. Nigerian one, every year. Why is it, I want to answer that, try to answer the question. Why is it that of all these exercises, Mantu was chairman of one, they consumed a lot of money? Why haven't we been able to have amendments? One answer is that we are very dishonest people. We are so dishonest, so hypocritical. It is when somebody's tribesman is there, you will cause the heaven to fall until your brother enters there. Then you start finding stupid explanations. You are looking at somebody now. Why will chairman, governor, central bank, minister, finance, inspector general, customs, immigration, why? And the saddest part of it, because I come from the university system, the worst place you find tribalism is in the university. We are supposed to be leading, no? But if you imagine that just last year, a Yoruba man from Osun State, not Imo, not Anambra, was appointed Vice Chancellor, University of Ife, not UNN. Yoruba people with all their sophistication. Ife people went on demonstration with juju. You know, their own is different. They dressed like something else. And if you want to frighten somebody, just go and dress white with a cock head and you will see what will happen. Demonstrating. What was the demonstration? It didn't come from Ife. Professors demonstrating that he didn't come from Ife. So sometimes when you look up on us, the academics, to provide you answer, you find that we are as wicked as you are, if not even more wicked. Because I've been in the north, and I challenge any northerner to come, even those from Plateau. I challenge them if they are not discriminated. I've been in the Plateau. This is my 34 years, and this is my 25 years as a professor. My own students, I'm not telling you somebody out. When I was running for the deanship, my own students say that Adoba cannot be allowed to be the dean of this faculty because he will sack half of us. And what was my problem? My problem is that my father was a teacher, and I like behaving like a headmaster. I like, listen, I want to come to work and make sure that everybody is there. I don't like gossips. If you are teaching, I want to come and peep to see whether you are teaching. And if you are earning salary, I want to make sure that you deserve that salary you take. And if I want to give you course to teach, as the head of the department, I was teaching three courses. Others were teaching two. Before I ask you if you have finished marking, I must have finished my own marking before I can ask you. So that if you don't mark, I will deal with you. And when I'm dealing with you, if you see the senior advocates in my faculty now, all of them, we thank Aduba, because I was harassing them because you must do your work.
in homes. And I mean homes. I'm intentional in the use of the word. People grew up in houses, communities, homes. There are variants. You had either a flogging mother, a talking father, or a flogging father. There were different versions. In 2024, it's changed. It's the men that now suffer it. You know, when your wife says, we need to talk, you start talking to yourself from the office. You know, that we need to talk is not a good statement. And if your girlfriend asks you, where did you go to? It's not also a good statement. And you see, underlining the trust issue is we need to talk. And it's not necessarily where did we go to. It's a question of where are we coming from. I had the privilege of being at the Vice President's office. It's a very short 2-minute story, and Prof will be very surprised. Prof happens to be classmates with the former Vice President. I know. He doesn't answer the phone anymore. See, I'm happy he's the one saying he doesn't answer the phone. But I want to tell you the story of when he used to answer the phone, so that you know that we have a problem. So Prof and their classmates went to see Osibanjo. He's laughing. Should I continue the story? To show you that Nigeria has problem, or we don't have problem. So they thought amongst themselves, what gifts should they buy for Osibanjo? Should I continue? I was there. I was just leaving while they were, and I was conscious to see what they bought for the Vice President. A Rolex, a nice phone. Of all the things they wanted to buy for Osibanjo, they bought him a Bible. And gave a sitting Vice President, gave him a Bible. Did somebody re-echo Bible? Yes, Bible. Did you? Very customized Bible. I don't know the version. You see, so he could read it in all the languages. 8 years after, I've always looked for the Bible in Osibanjo's life. 8 years after. Vis-a-vis, power should be grabbed, taken, and run with. I ask myself, what manner of people is always asking for Barnabas every time and again? There's always an election. Chances are that the worst candidate always wins. I promise that we will go on time, but this is what we will do. CYPA said it was a National Citizens Town Hall on Constitutional Review. And this is the last session. I will crave the indulgence of my panelists. I will take 10 questions. Wow. But I will divide it into 2. 5 would be questions. The other 5 would be suggestions so that our rapporteurs can have something to put in that memorandum. Albert Einstein said, if a 5-year-old does not understand, don't worry, Professor Aduba will not understand. So don't introduce yourself. We know you already. Don't tell us, thank you, CYPA. Thank you already. Don't tell us what you do. I already know. 60 seconds. Ask your question, and in 60 seconds, make your suggestion. 10. That means we would have used just 10 minutes, which is fair enough. And I'm doing this asking, is the lunch ready for those who are not fasting? It's ready. So you see. So for people that are not listening to me again, I will soon be out of your faces. So we'll take it also. I have not even said anything. You see, Nigerians? You see these people that are raising up their hands, they are the people that don't sit in front in church. When the usher is giving them space, they'll say, no, I have where I sit. So we'll take 5 from this section of the hall, another 5 from the other section. There's no equity or equality, so I can't take 2.5 men and 2.5 women. So we'll take in whatever order as much women as we can have and as much men. So let's just take the number 1, 2, Okay, there are no women on this platform. Is that? Okay, so we already have, how many? Okay, that way, right? Okay, fantastic. Beautiful. Yeah. There's a woman here. Yes, including her. All right. Yes. There's what? There's another woman there. All right. I'm polygamous. You can be 11. All right. So fantastic. We need an extra mic. Yeah. Maybe we can start henches in the front. We could, yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am. From her, yeah.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sorry.
Good afternoon,
I'm Lydia from the Center for Conflict.
You see why the Constitution can't work?
So we should not say thank you. Okay, straight. It's a question that I have.
You are still telling me. Just go ahead.
Okay, so right from the beginning, you've been mentioning how this Constitution has been reviewed so many times, hundreds of times, and then they just pick one recommendation and that's the end of it, and then they fix another budget for the next committee. So my question here is, we are seated here and we've made numerous suggestions. So what is our role in ensuring that they don't just pick one and then we sit and wait for the next, because all of these are pressing issues. So what exactly is our role as CSOs and citizens that are sitting here who are very concerned about each of these suggestions? What's our role in ensuring that they don't just pick one?
Thank you very much. I appreciate you. You know, Nigerians would like to repeat short nika. It's still short, but it's still nika. She asked like that question 3 times. What is our role? Then what is our role? Then what? Okay. We'll get an answer. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
A suggestion.
By all means.
To decentralize the powers at the center, I suggest that we create 18 states as recommended by the 2014 National Conference, make the states 54, local governments and states with no more governments, constitute Nigeria into 12 zones, call them provinces like they do in Canada. They will be the subnational governments. They should have constitutions. A federation is a federation of constitutions. Therefore, a federal government then remove the powers of the federal government by transferring, I have a list of 26 items from the exclusive list, move it to the concurrent list, stop the National Assembly from touching the concurrent list, and then have a parliamentary system, equal representation from each of the 12 zones.
You sound South African.
I have prepared it here.
Thank you very much. We appreciate this. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. The team of rapporteurs, you might want to
Okay, mine is a suggestion.
I know your name. Continue.
Mine is a suggestion on this state police. The traditional ruler should be made to be in charge, because they have the people down in the grassroots, because it's a community police thing. Soldier come, soldier go, barrack remain the same. The governor will go, but the traditional ruler still remain. On judiciary, I want to talk. The constitution interpretation lie with the judiciary, but look at the current trend of appointment within the judiciary. It's turning to family and friends, where the chief judge will appoint his son, a federal high court judge, court of appeal judge, and they polarize the thing and make it a family affair. So there should be an independent body that will look at the appointment of judges, not from the NJSC, independent from civil society, from other associations and bodies. They look at it and appoint. Now, I think we should bar religion and politics. This is what is eating us deep. No, if it will be possible, no political person that is looking for politics or political office
deletion of the state INEC in the various states. Then there should be an independent body to appoint INEC chairman. INEC chairman should not be appointed by the president because you always do the bidding of the president. There should be a merger of the National Assembly. The National Assembly red and green chambers should be collapsed into one. And then the procedure of recall should be reviewed in this country. That process is very Herculean that it cannot be done. And then cost of nomination forms also should be looked into. There should be a control and a regulation by the electoral body such that the young people and the women will not be marginalized.
Thank you so very much. That's why I said Nigeria is a beautiful country. My question will be, who appoints the independent body that appoints the independent INEC guy?
Thank you very much. Mine is just a suggestion. I want to emphasize based on traditional rulers issue. Okay. One of the major challenges of the 1999 Constitution is the neglection of traditional rulers. If the House may recall that 1960 and the 1963 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria specified a clear role for traditional rulers. That is the reason why we have a Council of Chiefs. And if today Nigerian Constitution give a specified role to traditional rulers, it will help us to reduce the level of insecurity in this country and the level of immorality. That is my suggestion.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you. On the issue, mine is a suggestion also. You know, when we're talking about equity and justice,
that's true.
We know also the role religion plays. Now, one thing.
People that were elected into office, and we have seen that at the end of the day, one regain his office. They all have similar case. So I want the issue of this judgment to go beyond the appeal court. So I know we all know what I'm saying. Number two.
I don't know. Don't assume that I know.
What I'm saying here is that we see that those that were elected State House of Assembly reps and Senate, they lost their seats. But the governor was restore his seat, right? So what I'm saying here is that had it been their own case would not move to the Supreme Court, maybe they would have returned. So please, in the review, that judgment should go beyond the appeal court.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate that.
So next, please. Next, in the review,
10
let there
seconds.
be provision whereby our electoral system should be reliable, formidable, whereby there won't be any chance for manipulation, so that the people's choice will not be robbed. Then lastly, suggestion again.
Okay, quickly.
That this issue of 2 terms, no more. All elected position should be only 1 term. Thank
Of
you.
how many years? Okay.
A way forward. Mine is a way forward.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Freedom comment by struggle. Freedom.
Okay, we should include a song.
By struggle. No, the message.
Okay.
Somebody asked. Oftentimes, we come back, we revert back, we have these meetings way forward, and the same National Assembly or the Senate or the reps pick what they want. Encouraging all of us never to be deterred. And that was why I said, freedom comments by struggle. We should keep struggling. Build the youth.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate that. Are we done on this row?
Okay. On gender issues,
Yes, ma'am.
there should be zero taxation on our menstrual pad. In as much as you go to a hotel, you walk into a room, you check in, you see a condom there. We as the ladies, when we check in, we should also get our menstrual pad there. Because our girls are suffering due to period poverty. And because as a woman, an average woman has...
Can we please be in one accord? Hello? Hello? Thank you very much.
As a woman, an average woman has 450 periods, which means as an average woman, you're menstruating 3,500 during your lifetime. And it means you have used over 10,000 sanitary pads. So mine is zero taxation on our menstrual pad.
Thank you so very much. All right. All right.
All right, I want to also make my suggestion, leaning on the Joy Youth.
Hello,
leader.
can we be one house? Yeah.
Yes, I just want to lean on the Joy Youth leader and then Aloku concerning the zoning system. I believe if we can make it as a law in the constitution, so that when the zoning system should be implemented, so that every zone can be able to have its own share, so that we can be able to have a participatory of all zones, and then in line with that, all political parties should be able to key in to that zoning. Whereby we will not be having an issue whereby the constitution is saying this zone is to produce this leadership at this point, but whereby at the end of the day we begin to have other parties are now coming up with from another zone. So let's have it that if it's going to be a zoning system in the constitution, let's make it the law so that every political party should align to that.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, I'll take a breather. How many do we have left? All right, this part of the globe. I'll take a breather while the mic. Hello, the mic is there. Okay, go ahead. Let's finish with this part of it. Go ahead.
If we want to succeed, we must deviate from a defensive or emulative constitution to a proactive constitution. I was privileged to have the American Constitution when I was in secondary school. And I studied for 4 months in Senator Joseph Waya's library, which is the best in American democracy in Nigeria. I was part of the Nigerian policy conference at the National Institute of Hilton Hotel in the year 2000. So I have a policy called the Lucas 21st Century Leadership Matrix. It says to cope with the basics of food, clothing, and shelter in the 21st century, leadership has to be seen and practiced as management of ideas. That is equivalent of Albert Einstein's relativity equation of the 1930s. Then there was scarcity. So it took technology to improve it. But now the problem of the world is poor distribution of income. It will take leadership concepts. When we come to the first chapter of the Constitution, which is general policy, you come to fundamental human rights, and then the socio-economic dimensions. Policies like this are important. We are talking of pursuing trailblazing globally. Without taking those dimensions, we are just like a stagnant pool that will always smell. I was part of the Nigeria-South Africa Bilateral Conference in the presidency. They've taken that. So my suggestion is that we should be proactive. Look for brains. Let us look at a picture of tomorrow and how to get there. That's when you can get the religious leaders and agree we want to be the best in Africa. How can your religion cooperate? How can you cooperate? And your great-grandchild will come and benefit. Nigeria will be greatest.
Thank you so very much.
Well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I will speak very shortly.
No, you don't have a choice.
On grassroots democracy. I think our grassroots democracy is weak. And this constitutional review should look very seriously into our grassroots democracy. Therefore, I do propose that INEC should be meant to conduct local government election for a stronger local government so that the political system will be bottom top and no longer a top-down approach. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. All right, well, on this side of the divide.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so I want to make a few suggestions. First,
go ahead.
on the burner is the issue of resource allocation. Now, I find it surprising that we have a region in this country that has a strong stance against alcohol use, sale and distribution and all of that. But then, you know, the VATs that accrue from the sales of alcohol and all of that, monies that accrue to the federal government is being shared, and these states actually benefit from these sums. So I think it's about time that we begin to have that conversation. And secondly, this is really disturbing and personal to me. The issue of referendum in the Constitution. Now, there's nowhere in the world, or so I think, where a bunch of people are forced to be together and are told that it's going to be indissoluble and all of that without their consent. You know, we've come of age, this is the 21st century. People should have right to belong and to disassociate themselves from any union whatsoever. And so I just want to make a reference to the Second Amendment that came in the American Constitution. The right to own guns is quite a very delicate matter. But because the state felt, look, we don't want to get to a point where the state oppresses the people, so they need a buffer. So let us allow them own arms, should in case the state tries to, you know, use arms against these people, they can find a way to defend themselves. In our own case, we don't even have an option of a referendum, for instance. You don't have an option to say, look, I don't want to be a part of this union anymore. And this is very important because this is a conversation that has now become rife in our history. People from particular regions want out. And of course, there are particular issues that have influenced such conversations. We can actually deal with those. But in the real sense of the word, I think people must be given the right to decide to belong or not to any particular union.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. All right, are we done? No, I don't think so. Just one more or two, and we'll be done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Iman.
Very quick, very unpopular suggestions I have.
By all means.
Just two of them. I think our Constitution recognizes the multi-religious nature of the Nigerian. Constitution has to be very, very clear whether the citizenship is superior to citizenship. If I am a citizen of Nigeria, I should enjoy the benefits of being a Nigerian anywhere I find myself. I think this is very important.
All right, one more person.
So good afternoon all.
Good afternoon.
So mine is just a quick comment. I want to say we've been talking about constitution here since morning, but genuinely, how many of us have the constitution? How many of us have our copy? And how many of us go through this constitution and read them. Sometimes we just wait for one online lawyer to tell you that you need 25% to win Abuja. But genuinely, do you know these things? So please, I think our assignment here today, after singing Constitution from morning to afternoon, we should get a copy and we should study it. Thank you.
All right, there's one more person at, how many? What's?
Suggestion.
Okay, go ahead.
Suggestion.
Go ahead.
Now, there is high level of poverty at the local government level, accounting for the increasing rates of insecurity and the poverty level. So I want to suggest that the issue of local government autonomy should be taken seriously, and the implementation should be taken seriously as well. And also, the revenue sharing formula should be also reviewed in such a way that the local government will have a higher share of 40%, local state government 20%, federal government 30%, and then for special derivatives 10%. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There are two people at the back, the very back. One lady and then one gentleman, please. Very quick one. We're almost there.
Okay, so suggestion quickly, and then just to bring our attention. Please, let's be very careful what we ask for, what we intend to review in the Constitution, because in the near future, it can still come back to us, right? I hear us talking about reforms of reviewing. Somebody talked about the Electoral Act, something that was just amended, right? So let's be very careful what we ask for. Then my suggestion here is, we talked about people living with disabilities. We talked about minorities, people who have been marginalized. And we also all established here that it has been as a result of lack of education. So my own suggestion is, if we're going to have a review, why not bring civic education and make it compulsory in our educational system, or bring back the history which has already been taken out from our Constitution. Let's bring it in and then do more of educating people to get empowered with the knowledge instead of focusing on the marginalization we face and other things. Sorry, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And one more, is that correct? Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, is the issue of political parties decamping from one political thing to the other. As a way of recommendation, I want to recommend that the issue of political parties decamping should also be looked into, so that if you belong to one particular party, you should be stable in that. Thank you.
All right, thank you so very much. One final one. Yes, he's been itching.
All right. So one.
Okay, please, very quickly.
All right. Thank you. So one thing I believe is we cannot change the country without changing the mindset of the people. So the lady there brought up a suggestion on including civic education to the curriculum. But the thing is, how many people can really afford education? According to Article 11 of the Africa Charter, it made provision for free and affordable education. And also Article 26 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it also made provision for free and affordable education. But here in Nigeria, we are having our educational policy on Chapter 2, that is Section 8 precisely, which is non-justiciable. So it means that you can go to school at will, and it means that also the government don't really take education into cognizance.
That's
so
true.
it means that in order to curtail or to control the bad leadership and
That's
to
true.
also bring up solutions, it is going to be better if we bring the freedom, right to affordable education into Chapter 4, so that everybody will go to school and education is going to be compulsory for everybody.
That's true.
Especially the North, where there's a high degree
Thank you so
of
very much.
illiteracy.
You apparently, you are a student, right?
Yes.
I know
Yeah.
when they don't want to fail.
Yeah.
It means, I know. Thank you so very much. And then the last gentleman there. I've been there before. He kept saying it means, I know. Thank you, sir. Very quickly.
Okay, for me, I want the Constitution to be grounded to the grassroots.
Okay.
Such that every tribe, the Constitution should be in every language of,
Okay.
of the nation of Nigeria.
Okay.
And also should be integrated properly into our educational system, even as high as GSTs.
Okay.
So that we will have people who know
and that also it will improve on our
Can we have one?
patriotism.
Can we have one house so that we can hear him? Thank you. Go ahead.
That will improve on our patriotism. Also, we also need to also reduce police brutality in our nation. The Police Act as well needs to be grounded into our culture, our society, and our educational system as well.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Is that all? All right. I'll take you. I'll take you. Go ahead. 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds.
All right. Mine is a recommendation or suggestion.
Go ahead.
I think what I want to suggest is the issue of security.
Okay.
Yeah. I think with my understanding is that the federal government controls the security architecture around the 36 states. State government do not have the right to control the securities like from the army down to the police. And yet the state government are being said that they are the chief security officers of their state. So I think the constitution can be reviewed on that so that state government can take...
Thank you so very much.
Secondly, please.
30 seconds. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's on natural resources also.
Say it, go ahead.
State government also needs to be given a right to control their natural resources, and also the constitution needs to be, the constitution
it is true that being kind to another person is an unenforceable law, but it's necessary. Nobody will punish you for not loving another person or for being generous to other people whom you consider different from you people. But that's exactly what God truly wants. We're looking majorly at the enforceable laws that sometimes are compelling for people to even operate. So as Nigerians, one of my suggestions would be our ability as Christians, as Muslims, as pagans, to imbibe the culture of truly living the essence of humanity by living out the unenforceable laws, which dictates in every religion that love your neighbor as yourself. If you love your neighbor as yourself, your neighbor does not need to struggle just to get a right that is naturally his. That is one. Now, for the purpose of establishing it in the document, since the 1960s, our progenitor, Azigboro, before he even led to the declaration of the Niger Delta Republic, was because the 1963 Constitution completely emasculates his own people, where the Ijaw people are divided into 6 different states. Some are put as core minorities in Akwa Ibom, few in Abia, some in Rivers, some in Delta, some in Edo, some in Ondo, and some are aboriginal in Lagos. Now, Nigeria being run as an ethnically based prison where the Igbos have 6 states, the Yorubas have 6 states, the Hausa Fulani, and perhaps it has about 19 states. What is the fate of the Ijaw people? We have 1 state. So it's a serious issue. My people have been struggling for just 3 states that can unite the Ijaw people along the coastal belt, because that's where nature finds us in. We didn't make ourselves there. But that idea of state creation, they have killed that idea simply because they are coming from the Ijaw people. I think that Nigeria, the Ijaw people, like any other people here, need to feel safe, happy in the social space that Nigeria has provided equal opportunities for all Nigerians so that everybody can contribute to Nigeria, rather than struggling to cut this cake at the detriment of the rest of Nigeria. This would be my suggestion. Thank you.
Good afternoon once again. My final submission will be in the form of a story. I grew up in a military barracks when the military were respected by every Nigerian. Military men will board vehicles with their children and they wouldn't pay transport. And that was when every Nigerian valued the uniform on the shoulders of the person wearing the uniform. The military didn't have to carry guns to earn respect. I want to return to a Nigeria where I can travel from Lagos to Gongola, the former Gongola, and will have a challenge with the vehicle and I will sleep in Kaduna Park and nothing would happen to me as a young girl of 15 years. And I will still continue my journey to Gongola by the next day. And there will be no robbery, there will be no kidnapping, there will be no banditry. I want to return to a Nigeria where I can sleep with both eyes closed. I want to return to a Nigeria where every child goes to primary school joyfully and the quality of education is top-notch. I want to return to a Nigeria where every young person has hope, where the young girl is not told that unless she gives something, she cannot get anything. I want to return to Nigeria where equality and equity becomes the order of the day. That would be my submission.
Thank you so very much.
let me also continue where my sister stopped. Let me first of all thank the organizers. You know, one of the reasons why I appreciate myself, if you don't appreciate yourself, nobody's going to appreciate you. So I like myself quite a lot. I am so thankful to God that when I move around, I see my students all over the place. I see them playing very important roles. I see them contributing to the society. Time have gone when you just stay in one place moaning and complaining. My sister wants to see a Nigerian while everybody is working. You cannot have a Nigeria where everybody is working. There are very criminally minded ones amongst us who will make things difficult. But the important thing I want to really tell you is that I like the way they organized this talk. Eventually, we ran out of people asking questions. It was only people here that were talking. Suddenly, everybody was now talking. So I think the only question I will answer for somebody who said, we will talk like this, what will happen? Nigeria is a very young country. You may think we are old. We are not old. If we imagine that United Kingdom and Scotland have been together for 800 years, and still Scotland says they want to separate. And there are sentiments, and nobody is abused. The last occasion, they didn't succeed. A country is actually what you want to make a country. It's individuals that make country. Countries don't come like that. So I think I am so happy that we have behaved ourselves. Nobody has shown abusive language. Nobody has abused another. The language was temperate. The organization, my brother here at the top, simply wonderful. I think I am happy to be here. I feel myself very, very lucky to be in your midst. And then I wish that we have more of this. That's how a country grows. America did not just come to what they are. No, Britain actually didn't also come. We have to be, it's trial and error. We can never get it at just one stretch. So that we have been doing our constitutions up and down. No, it doesn't matter. But I can assure you that even if we don't get anything this time around, I think state police, I think the harassment we are getting from insecurity is such that even if nothing works, we'll get a state police. And if we can get the state police, that is the beginning. It won't solve all the problems. Problems are always there. But that will be the beginning. And if we can get this state police without fighting, without unnecessary aggravation. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a privilege. It's an honor. I'm excited. I thank you, every one of you here. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Thank you so very much. I think it's not out of place to a round of applause to CYPA Africa. Another round of applause to Equity International. Prof just said something. Don't clap for yourself. Just whisper to yourself that I am important. Now whisper, I still hear some of you now. All right, I want to say thank you for being part of this conversation. It will continue. Nation building never stops. Some of us who want to go to Canada, Japan, Cote d'Ivoire, wherever, somebody built those places. Let's build Nigeria. Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
Please, you can do better. Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you. Thank you, the President of the Ijaw Youth Council Worldwide. Thank you, Madam Ledu. Thank you so much. Thank you. May I respectfully, just before, Mr. Godson, okay, thank you so much for your time, for your patience. We have outstretched ourselves. We started this engagement since 10:20. 10:20 till now is how many hours? And we've all been paying attention. We really want to appreciate all of you for spending your time here. We know that the Nigerian conversation cannot be overemphasized. The Nigerian conversation cannot be overemphasized. It is not enough, but thank God that we provide solution. We are going to send a special mail. Please, one house. We are going to send a special mail to certain persons that we have identified as technical experts for us to harmonize ahead of our deadline to the National Assembly. And it's the collective views of the civil society organizations and other national associations that are here represented. So once again, I thank you. Lunch has been ready since 1:30. I want to crave your indulgence that because, please, can we go offline now? Thank you. I want to crave your indulgence. Invite Mr. Godson Wankwo, our Senior Programs Manager, Policy and Programs for Equity and CYPA Africa, please.
Okay, thank you so much. We sincerely appreciate you for staying up to this time and listening to all the conversation. I know so many persons here have a lot of things to say. You have a lot of points, suggestions, according to those thematic areas that have been outlined. So if you have such points, you can send it to our email. Yeah, so please, I would like everybody to send, if you have a suggestion according to all the thematic areas that have been outlined, you can just send it to us via email, or maybe you can signal to me, collect my WhatsApp number, because we are going to harmonize all the discussions we've had here today, and we'll submit it to the National Assembly for review. So thank you so much. We're going to have a group photograph just before the lunch. Then for the account numbers for the transportation, we're going to inbox the transportations. Okay, at this point, I want to invite Hajia for the vote of thanks. Please put your hands together for
Good afternoon, everyone. I've been mandated by the executive director himself, Chris, who is like a son to me. And when he started the organization, I was among the first people he came to. And I would like to say, like a mustard seed, I pray that this organization will be there to inspire young people to do what he has done today. And I think the conversations has just begun, because it shouldn't stop here. The Arab Spring started somehow, and where is Egypt now? We have to lay our voices. We need our voices to be stronger, and only the young people can do this, and only in unity. It breaks my heart when I enter the social media and I see young people taking sides. The elites and politicians, they belong to one group. They can be in one room, and when they go out, it seems as if they belong to different parties, but they have a common cause. So I want us to be united in what? In democracy. I want to thank CYPA Africa especially for putting up this town hall meeting. Our panelists, our civil society who have also lent their voice, our gender activists, our comrades in the journey, and our ancestors. We thank you. Especially my professor. He doesn't know this, but I was inspired. I attended his human rights classes when I was at my master's level. And some of you who know that I am the ED of ISIN, he inspired me in human rights class to think outside the box. And today, sir, this is 15 years I've been doing civil society for the good of young people and women. So I would like to say, let's strengthen our voices, and I would like to see CYPA do a follow-up. We shouldn't just leave the conversation here. We should also use the social media to lend our voices, because what happened in Ghana, what happened in Senegal, we as Nigerians, we have to make the sacrifice. Some of us in this journey, we are one Nigeria. Some of you don't probably know that my mother belongs from the southern part of the country, and my father is from the northern part of the country. So some of us are in this journey of civil society to see that Nigeria is one, because some of you who know me, I don't take sides. I try to encourage both sides because we belong to both sides. If you divide me into two, you have killed me. So I think most of us that are multi-Nigeria, we believe you shouldn't say you belong to this place. You should see yourself as a Nigerian first. Yes, we have our states we belong to. We have our tribes we belong to. But if the journey of constitutional review should work, we should first see ourselves as what? As Nigerians. Only that will bring us together. So let's see how we can act. We have come, we have seen. I don't think we have conquered till when we act. So I think we have a lot of work to do. And I would like to say thank you, CYPA Africa, for the journey so far. We have a lot to do. Thank you very much, the media, and thank you very much, our colleagues who have spoken well. And also our young people, the gender people who have spoken, and my very good sister, Nene, who have spoken very well on the dream, where we want to see Nigeria. Let's try to walk the talk and not just talk. So may God bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma. Please, a beautiful round of applause for Hajia. Okay, this brings us to the end of this beautiful National Citizens Town Hall on Constitutional Review. I thought you'd clap. It's been a long day. Okay, some house rules, please. For those of you that provided your account details, you got our email. You got our several text messages. Please kindly ensure that your bank details are corresponding with your name. Please, let us not have Chris Iyama, and on the bank details we are having Memuna Sumaila. Please, if it is Sumaila Memuna that is on the bank, that is on your, that's the name you sent, please let it correspond to avoid some kind of stress. Please, I want to once again appreciate all our eminent guest speakers, our panelists, our keynote speakers, and all those that did overview for us. We are really grateful, and thank you, because in spite of the short notice, anytime we call on you, you always remember and answer us. We are so grateful. And for all those that came from different parts of the country, from Katsina, from Kaduna, from Umaya, from Taraba, from Sokoto, and, okay, Abuja, and the bulk of our participants from Plateau State, we say thank you for gracing this important occasion. And it doesn't stop here. The conversation continues. The constitutional reform engagement is for 2 years. It's for 2 years. And before that, even though we are submitting a memorandum on the 10th, or before 10th of April, but the conversation continues because we are going regional. Like I said, I don't know whether he was listening to me, but I mean it, that our brother from Bayelsa is hosting the regional engagement. When we leave here, we'll begin to talk about that, so that some of you that have never traveled to Bayelsa will begin to travel to Bayelsa for that engagement if you get our invitation. Mr. President, are we on the same point? Thank you so much. So please, just before we go out for lunch, can we kindly have a very wonderful group photograph here? Everyone. Please, hold on. Yes. Please,